No.
So, what other films were there?
Um, Roger Corman, who's usually known as a producer of kind of like Z grade exploitation movies, actually made a movie called Frankenstein Unbound that he directed, and it's not a straight Mary Shelley uh, adaptation. It's weird. It's set in the year 2031, and there's time slips,
Oh,
and John Hurt plays a scientist who gets transported back to Geneva right around the time that Mary Shelley was writing her novel, and the inspiration for it is Dr. Frankenstein, played by Raul Julia,
oh,
This
which
actually
actually
sounds amazing. What is this?
I know it does sound amazing, but it's not.
Don't ruin
It,
this
it
for me.
it plays itself way too seriously for such a silly premise. It should let itself loose. It's replete with potential, but it plays like a PBS costume drama for the most part.
Hmm.
And Raul Julia doesn't bring the fun that he had in Street Fighter to this, unfortunately. He's not chewing the scenery, which is what you want in a Raul Julia performance.
yeah.
Yeah.
He ain't kissing any Spider Women.
No, I never saw that movie.
Yeah, I never did.
Um,
Here's good.
so there was since we're at the end of October, beginning of November. There was another horror sequel that came out, Child's Play 2, which is basically just a rehash of the first movie. The only thing that distinguishes this from the first one is there's a really good climax in the toy factory.
Oh, I've heard about that. I
It's
thought
the
that
best
was
part
it.
of the movie.
Hmm.
Honestly, it's one of those movies where it frustrates me that the adults are such idiots that they never catch on, to the point where, as the audience member, vicariously you're getting frustrated and infuriated with the characters on screen.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, I can't stand that. There was a there's a movie about the Craze, these gangsters over in London, which have been used in a bunch of the other movies. Actually, there was a recent movie called Legend by
Tom
Ryan,
Hardy.
with Tom Hardy playing dual roles. They were twin gangsters. This one was by Peter Mayday. I've never seen it, so I can't speak to its quality.
I glanced at that. None of the cast sounds familiar, so I feel like this wasn't very big.
No, no, kind of a blip on the radar. Showtime produced a Psycho sequel, Psycho 4: The Beginning,
Hmm.
which Anthony Perkins' character calls into a talk show and talks about his early beginnings on why he became a serial killer,
What?
and it and it also somehow he starts to get the urge to kill again, so he's kind of has to get talked off the ledge. It's oddly structured, and I don't necessarily know that we need to demystify Norman Bates like that and need to know his origin story.
You ever see Bates Motel?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of that show.
I watched the first season. It's good, but it's like why? This whole thing with
I
why
hate
weren't
when they.
I've always been weirded out by that show because it's the kid from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory
the good doctor.
Yeah,
and the Good Doctor.
He was not good in that. The It's like that Clarice show that just came out when we were recording. I don't know. By now it could have been canceled, but I'm hearing bad reviews as it comes out the week we're recording. So, like,
Which
why,
show
why
is
would
that?
we keep rehashing Hannibal when we could do something new?
Clarice.
You
Ah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's iconic.
I know. It's the thing that I always say is Sam Rockwell was interviewed about Poltergeist when he did the remake, and he's like, "Would you rather see a haunted house movie with Sam Rockwell, or would you rather see Poltergeist, but this time with Sam Rockwell?"
Actually, the former sounded better.
Yeah,
I'd rather
going
see
back
a
to
haunted
like,
house movie with Sam Rockwell.
yeah, I'd rather see something new always, but that's because we see so much. We're like, oh, you're just doing it again.
Yeah, but even if they had changed the name, it wouldn't have mattered because they completely replicate scenes and
Yeah,
scenarios from the first movie. So we just say it was a ripoff.
yeah.
Um,
It's a revival.
as Tristan said, Home Alone came out this month.
Biggest film of the year.
Biggest film of the year. Damn fine movie, if you ask me. Still holds up. Heartwarming Christmas classic.
Now, what do you guys think of Home Alone? I'm sure you both have seen it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm over it.
Yeah,
I
me
like
too.
it.
Over it.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
care.
over it, man.
Macaulay
the-
Culkin's still one of the best child actors ever.
Do you have it in your rotation around Christmas? Because
Yeah.
I've seen it once.
I watched 1 and 2.
It feels Christmassy. when
Yeah.
you're watching it.
Which is
Wait.
weird because they show it on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, November. No, the same weekend, November 16th, 1990.
So like he came out in 2 movies. This one and
Yes.
or,
By the way, yeah.
Jigsaw Origins.
Another sequel. Probably one of the worst sequels of all time, in my opinion. Rocky 5 came out,
Oh, right. I
which
saw
is a
that.
complete disgrace to the franchise.
Still
Never should have
get
been made.
better. The week that Rescuers Down Under, Rocky 5 still beat it.
Ugh.
Ooh.
Everything about this movie's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Even the last fight scene, the final blow that Rocky has against Tommy Gunn it's a staged hit with him this far away from even connecting. It's so bad. I don't know how that got through editing.
Yeah.
But
Thank God Rocky Balboa saved the franchise, and then
it's so bad. Thank God he got to do Rocky Balboa and save the franchise.
Yeah.
Another TV movie, pretty iconic actually. Stephen King's It
Oh, right.
came out this month. I'm assuming we've all seen that, or at least
I have
No?
not.
The new one.
actually.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I've always wanted to. I walked in when my parents were watching it when I was like 4, and they're like, "No, get out of here! You'll be frightened for the rest of your
It's
life."
strange. It has the same problem that the 2 movies have, which is the kids' storyline is far superior to the adults.
I feel like that's how the book is too, though.
Yeah, yeah, but they never go into the. Thankfully, they never go into the cosmic turtle backstory about it, and Pennywise and all that. Obviously, Tim Curry's the best thing about the movie. It doesn't hold up as well anymore, and you can tell. Actually, watching it now, I used to think it was a theatrical movie because I didn't see it when it aired. But watching it now, you can see it's heavily censored. Obviously,
You see the commercial breaks.
right. So even at the beginning, like when you watch the new movie, Georgie's death, obviously he's really graphic in the new movie. In this one, it's a slow push into Pennywise's mouth, and they cut away. So it's all suggested.
Tasteful.
So yeah, implied horror.
It's tasteful.
Horror.
No.
A movie that swept the Oscars, Dance with Wolves, came out.
Yeah, this is the best picture of the year. So we
Right.
have the best box office and best picture in the same month.
According to the Academy, it's the best picture. We
Yeah,
know
we all
otherwise.
know Goodfellas.
We know better.
We know
Goodfellas-
better.
Yeah.
It's still a really good movie, though.
I meant to look up the other 3 nominees, but I did not. I know Green Card's one of them.
We'll
No one
probably
knows.
do that in our year wrap up.
Yeah, we could do that then.
Have
Have you
Hidden
all seen
Agenda.
Dances with Wolves? Sorry, I wanted to ask. I assume you've seen Dances with Wolves, Corey, but have you two seen
Oh,
it?
Oh, it's a really good movie.
I
It's
have
just
not
not
seen
as
Dances
good.
with Wolves. I did see Avatar though, and I'm told that's basically the same movie.
Gotcha.
So is Fern Gully. Speaking of Fern Gully.
Avatar, The Last Samurai, they're all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Jeff and I should try to watch it before this year-end wrap-up, maybe.
Okay.
yeah, but I guess this established the formula of the white savior.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you really need to see
Speaking
for the
of which, I haven't
perfect
seen
white
Green Book.
savior, or white savior theme, The Last of the Mohicans, because it's not
Oh,
really a
that's
white
great.
savior movie.
Yeah, well.
Technically,
Yeah.
no, because
Lewis is not an Indian.
well, he's not.
Honestly,
He's the adopted son of an Indian,
Yeah.
and he's the last Mohican. And he's like, yeah, I'm the last of my people, and blah 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 blah. Go fight your war. I'm done.
Yeah,
That's a great movie too.
that's real good. Yeah.
Honestly,
Hey,
Dance with Wolves is a great movie. It's just not as good as Goodfellas.
Yeah, it's kind of like Ordinary People, Raging Bull. I like both.
I think there's a vast difference.
I saw it recently and I was like, Donald Sutherland's giving one of his best performances. I can't, and Mary Tyler Moore, and I don't know. It's a different feeling in the same way that Dances with Wolves just doesn't hold a candle to Goodfellas.
Right.
So that's the argument always for the Scorsese stuff. You
He's
gotta
always
keep
getting snubbed.
away from him. Yeah,
Aviator versus $1 Million Baby. Aviator's better.
both good movies,
Or are they? No.
but no one's talking about $1 Million Baby anymore.
That's true.
True.
No.
Hidden Agenda came out with it's a Ken Loach movie about trials with the IRA. I've never seen it.
Yeah. Ken Loach, good
Um,
work.
Yeah, but it's got a good cast. It's got Brad Dourif. It's got Frances McDormand. I should probably get around to watching it. It got pretty decent reviews. Predator 2 came out. Actually, this is you and I think we were talking about this on the phone maybe last week. We were talking about movies that we initially maligned and actually came around to enjoying, and this is one of those. I used to hate this movie because I kept comparing it to the original. Like, why isn't Arnold in this? Why isn't this in the jungle? But now I appreciate the differences a lot more. Has anybody else seen Predator 2?
Oh, I love Predator 2.
Oh yeah.
I only
Okay,
just
so
saw it, so
have you
I
always
haven't-
loved Predator 2?
I saw Predator 2 first before I saw the first Predator. So like I had the inverse of you where like I'm seeing the first Predator for the first time. I'm like, where's Danny Glover? Danny Glover's not here. This isn't Predator.
It's funny.
That's
I think they're
hilarious.
both great.
Yeah, no, they are, but it's like I did the opposite of Corey. I was like, no, wait, no, this isn't Predator. What's going on?
I saw them both as an adult and could separate them.
Okay, fair enough. Robot Jocks, which is it's a weird. Does anybody remember Empire Pictures? Charles Band.
No.
He did a lot of movies on shoestring budgets. Like I'm sure everybody knows the Puppet Master franchise.
Oh yes.
Okay, so yeah, they were known for that. Stuart Gordon, who did Reanimator
Mhm.
and From Beyond. This was his PG-rated movie between Dolls and The Pit and the Pendulum. And it actually, if you watch it, clearly Guillermo del Toro is a fan because this is essentially Pacific Rim without kaiju in it. It's about big Jaegers fighting each other, but it's set during it's set in the future, but it's still playing on Cold War tensions because it's an American versus a Russian, and obviously the Russian's the very caricatured, snarling villain.
I
But,
bet they were at the Berlin Wall fell as they were writing
Wait,
the
what's the
script.
name of this movie again?
Robot Jocks? You've probably seen memes of it.
I probably no. I think I might have seen like parts of it when I was a kid because this sounds really familiar.
Yeah, it's a lot. Actually, the for being made on a pretty low budget, some of the stop motion looks pretty good. The movie itself is a little too poker faced to have a lot of fun with this, but for a PG rated movie, they go into a lot of details that probably aren't too family friendly. Like at one point, there's a big mishap during one of the during one of the battles, and the good guys mech warrior falls onto the bleachers and kills 300 people, and he's having fevered nightmares about it, seeing the corpses in his nightmares. I'm like, this is a PG rated film.
This guy almost directed Honey, I Shrunk the Kid.
That's true.
Man, that would.
If you're gonna watch a
Or imagine
movie,
if he directed Honey, I Blew Up the Kids.
That's what this is.
Right.
essentially.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna watch a Stuart Gordon movie set in the future, go watch Fortress. It's way better.
I've heard that. Yeah.
3 Men and a Little Lady was released.
Kept talking about Nancy Travis all year.
Yeah. Again, not used properly in this movie either. I actually really like the original. I think it's pretty charming, but this one's just kind of a cash grab. It doesn't have nearly like an ounce of the wit of the first movie, which apparently they're remaking the first movie with Zac Efron for Disney Plus.
Yeah,
Just got announced.
Isn't he supposed to be the kid? The
No.
baby? Or is the baby a girl? I never saw it.
Oh, you never saw it? It's an actual baby. If that's what you're worried about.
I know, but it's a girl, not a boy. So this sequel can't
it's
be
a-
Zac Efron.
Yeah, it's a girl.
Okay. Because I thought it was gonna be like the kid's grown up. That's what I would have done with the sequel.
The sequel is that Nancy Travis is getting married, I believe.
To one of them, I assume.
No, I don't think she is. You know, it's been a long time. I don't know. I just remember not caring for this one very much. Mr. and Mrs. Bridge came out. Again, a movie that kind of has evaporated from people's memories. Although it's one of the few, I don't know if they worked together before, Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman.
3 times. This is, I think, the third or second. I don't know.
Okay, it's a James Ivory movie, and it's one of the least heralded ones, and I don't think it did particularly well.
She got nominated for an Oscar, I saw, because I looked into that for our poster boy, maybe, because I figured Jeff wouldn't have heard of it, and I'm like, this is interesting, but
Yeah, and I wouldn't be able to describe it because I've never seen it.
Basically, it's one of those early century dramas, and Mrs. Bridge is deluded into thinking that the times aren't changing, and her kids, one of them played by Robert Sean Leonard, one of them played by Kira Sedgwick, are trying to convince her to like move past the 1800s. It's like 1910 or 20, maybe the 30s even. I don't remember exactly, but she's like stuck in the past, and her kids are like, you gotta not be expecting the same thing anymore. We're all getting up there to the wars have happened, and we got to move on. So, and it takes place in like the Midwest somewhere. I think Kansas City or St. Louis. So,
yeah, I think it's Kansas City. I think you're right.
Yeah. So good thing I looked at the Wikipedia article.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say I only saw the synopsis. I didn't.
Yeah.
Speaking of garnering Oscars, Misery came out and got Kathy Bates a well-earned Oscar. I always thought, honestly, this is a movie I had the reverse reaction on, which I used to like it. Now I think her performance is a little too over the top and campy.
Really?
And it really takes me out of the movie.
Yeah. I've never
Honestly,
seen
this would be a good movie to remake, I think.
Well, they did in season 2 of Castle Rock with Lizzie Kaplan.
Right.
She plays.
Honestly, this was.
I've heard it's good.
Actually, Tristan kind of has a little history with this as a stage play because he got to see one of the actors at a bar after the revival of the stage play, right?
That was with Jeff. Jeff and I went to see the play Blackbird with Michelle Williams and Jeff Daniels. And then we decided to just go out to, what was it, Sardi's?
Yeah, we went to Sardi's.
Let's treat ourselves.
Because it was Jen's birthday. And then so we wandered over, and then we were like just sitting there, and then this short bald dude in a plaid shirt walks by, and Tristan and I look at each other and we're like, is that Bruce Willis? And then a couple minutes later we saw oh my god, I can't remember her name.
What's her name? The one from Married with Children, or not Married, Roseanne.
No, you're talking about Roseanne.
Sister Jackie.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know, man. Yeah. I didn't know who that was.
But anyway, yeah, we saw her, and I'm like, oh, Laurie Metcalf. So we saw Laurie Metcalf, and I'm like, did we just crash the Misery cast party?
So yeah, the 3 of us accidentally crashed the Misery cast party. It
was great.
Yeah. So.
I heard the show was terrible though.
Really?
I actually heard he seemed invested for once in his
he also
past 10 years.
He was in that one Woody Allen movie that he was supposed to do that Steve
No, he got cut out.
Yeah, well, he got cut out because rumor was he was like not learning his lines on set, but it was because he was about to go to Misery. He was learning those lines.
Is that why though?
That's what he said in the interview. He's like, I'm doing a play. I had capacity for one thing.
Then on Misery,
that's what I remember reading.
I heard that on Misery he had an earpiece the whole time too.
Yeah.
He wasn't even able to memorize those lines.
So it didn't work.
Yeah. I think he's just like, he's at that point in his career where he's like, I don't really need to do this. I'm just kind of I'm a golden ticket right now. So he can like.
Is he a golden ticket though?
Like floating around that bar.
Is he a golden ticket though? Because every time I see him in something, I immediately get disinterested.
Well, he thinks he's
he's not gonna care.
You know. He's gonna hear this and he's gonna beat me up.
The last movie I'll talk about before we get the poster boy is The Nutcracker Prince. Has anybody seen this?
No.
I have. I watched it in preparation for this.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. It takes the music from the Nutcracker and tries to incorporate into this animated movie, which actually the Nutcracker is voiced by Kiefer Sutherland.
What, third or fourth film he did this year?
Yeah, he's been a lot this year.
Yeah, him and Nancy Travis.
Young Guns too, and then some other things. But
Dennis Hopper.
Speaking of, Jimmy would hate this from an animation standpoint because they take these very stagnant, colorless backgrounds and have the characters run through the foreground. And a lot of them are so poorly detailed, it would drive you nuts. It looks like a rough draft of what they were trying to do. It's so cheap looking. Yeah, I don't even know how this did in theaters, but I can imagine it got buried by a lot of good stuff. It's terrible. It's one of the worst anime movies I've ever seen.
I don't remember it, so like.
Funny.
This is one of those also rans that came out in theaters.
Yeah, funny you bring up this at the end. I did sort of want to mention about Rescuers Down Under. That was the one last thing. This is one of the few that doesn't have music, like songs and dances and everything, like you were talking about when they were in full bodies. No music.
Doesn't need it.
Were there music numbers in the original Rescuers?
No, I think that's one of the few other ones as well, which is probably why they don't have it in this. But that's another reason I think it doesn't do as well as the other Renaissance films, because Little Mermaid blows it out of the water with whatever the.
I guess you can't do synergistic advertising with like soundtracks and stuff like that.
Then you also got to take into consideration, like, this was the one film that like you didn't have like a prince or a princess or another part of the formula for success at Disney.
Right.
Like who wanted to buy toys of mice?
Yeah, like you
I don't know.
You can't have an everyday kid out in the sticks be a relatable character. They gotta be somebody that's gonna elevate to royalty or is royalty.
Right.
Well, that also might be why they chose to do that one, because if they're doing a direct sequel to a movie that doesn't have any songs and they're testing out this new technology, let's do the fairly easy one first before we start worrying about animating all these enormous song and dance sequences.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry for the sidebar. Back to the main
sorry.
I just thought of it because you were mentioning music in the Nutcracker Prince. So yeah, ready to try and guess this last poster boy? Or it's not the last, there's one more month, but the last film of November 1990.
Do it.
I just watched this movie so I could talk about it.
It was not a great selection this month, so this may be a little easier than normal. I don't know if you can immediately tell who that is. I tried to
recognize that chin everywhere.
You're like a psycho.
You told me to do it.
Oh,
all right.
I am not the voice in your head, man.
You're gonna get theme music right now, but all right. So to describe the poster.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. All right. This.
Yeah.
I'm glad he said that. Because that's going to
like,
tie into the synopsis.
What are you doing?
Not really.
Something that came out of one of those, those coffee table art books that you are just kind of sitting on the table in the school library, and you're like, I'm going to look through this and see what this is. This abstract photo with that's clearly Prince.
Yeah, good job.
It's hard to obscure that.
Like his eyes are blurred out and everything, but I'd recognize
that the entire face. But
I would recognize that 5 o'clock shadow anywhere.
Oh, I even tried to get rid of some of the stubble. It's actually a little smudged.
So he's on the left side. There's some creepy woman peeking in on the upper right hand corner. There's an upside down idle hand with the earth in the middle of it. There what looks like I can't tell if that's like desert cliffs or
it is, yeah.
the Shroud of Turin or something. Then there's some flowers in the bottom and another dude with a flat top haircut and a yellow and black zoot suit.
Do you know that?
And an angel. There's an angel in the back there.
Almost looks like Tinkerbell to me.
Yeah. I forget their names, but they're two of his regular collaborators.
Yeah, this looks like something that someone made in my surrealist class in college.
Where have you ever heard of this movie?
I have no idea.
Yes. So I wasn't sure. This is your test for your friendship with Mike, because he would talk about all the Prince movies. all
Well,
the
I know
time.
it's not Purple Rain.
Yeah. Let me give you the tagline.
Okay.
Let's see if I can actually.
Well, yeah.
Well, there we go.
We'll do wait. Okay. Music is power. Love is the message. Truth is the answer.
What do you? I don't know if you even want to guess what happens in the film because
I mean, I'm just gonna guess.
It's
Prince plays
impossible to
Jesus,
guess
and
based on this.
realist itself.
like, it's there's gonna be some heavy religious overtones.
Huh.
He's right about that.
It's Prince.
And there's some sort of like, Prince is, if not Jesus, there's some sort of allegory going on because in the poster, the earth is right in the center of his palm.
Like a
The
stigmata.
stigmata thing. Look at that. Oh, thank you for unblurring those beautiful brown eyes.
I also tried to get rid of the earring, which is his symbol.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
No.
What would you call this Prince film?
Hang on. Music is power. Loves the message. Truly. Let's go.
I'll give you anything.
I'm gonna try to come up with something.
Oh boy.
Journey into Oblivion. I don't know.
Makes more sense than that.
Prince. Oh, that's the.
Yeah, guess
Prince,
what?
the movie.
The title's on the bottom.
Is it right? Okay. I don't know. Like, it's tough for me to try to guess titles, but I'm gonna say, I don't know. It's like Into something. It does. That's what it feels like. It feels like one of those like Into the Unknown type movies.
That's fine. I'll put him out of his misery.
This is so nonsense.
Music.
This was our best choice, by the way.
Okay. All right.
Graffiti Bridge.
Shit, that's the poster for Graffiti Bridge.
Thank you. I know
Have you seen this?
No.
Oh.
I haven't seen any of the Prince movies.
But I'm surprised you didn't think, like, we would be told about this all the time. Purple Rain and then Graffiti Bridge.
Look, I'm going to be honest. I totally, other than those two, I also got
Under the Cherry Moon.
I got Graffiti Bridge confused with American Graffiti in my mind.
Okay.
Don't
Totally
confuse them, please.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you don't have to do the normal thing where you guess what happens. Corey might as well just tell us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen Purple Rain, so this might not track. This is a pseudo sequel set in an alternate universe.
Oh God.
He still plays the kid, and the other guy at the bottom of that poster is Morris Day.
That's his name. Thank you. Of the time.
They're playing rivals again, but they own nightclubs, so they make a contest on who could write the better song, can keep their club open.
Okay.
Like I said, set in an alternate reality. That's almost kind of like a cross between like Romper Room and a speakeasy, and it's mostly like concert footage of stage performances.
Yeah.
There's not really much of a plot. Prince also directed this, and as Jeff said, there's religious overtones of Prince as Jesus. There's one part where he crowd surfs with his arms spread out while choir sings, and a digital billboard says there will only be one ruler.
I'll give you a quarter of a point, Jeff.
So yeah, it's that.
Wait, is those lines where points?
Well, no, they matter. I'm giving him a grade at the end of the season.
Oh.
I tell him 11 months in.
Prince is not a good director.
Mm-hmm.
Morris Day might be the least lethal mafia head that I've ever seen. There's a part where, to show how much machismo he has, he eats like a hot chili pepper, and then he gets one of his underlings to do it, and he runs out of the room and he laughs at him. Also, he's got between him and Prince, they're very what's the nicest way I can say this? Androgynous and feminine. They're feminine. So the fact that they're playing these really macho characters is hilarious unintentionally. And this isn't played for laughs. He's taking this deadly serious.
Oh, yeah.
The
Do you
movie's
like
awful.
Purple Rain?
Purple Rain's a masterpiece. This is Drek. I haven't seen Under the Cherry Moon, but I heard that's also pretty bad.
I thought Mike would always tell us one of them was good, one of the other two, and I thought it was this one, but I'll have to ask him.
Again, I'm not a huge fan of Prince's music, so that might be a point against it.
I don't know, man.
I like the music in Purple Rain.
Yeah.
Those songs are at least memorable. I can't remember any of the songs in this.
Ah, well.
No.
So that's our stuff for November. Before we go, I had an idea that, given that it's Disney, we may not get another chance to talk about Disney animated films again. Why don't we give I don't know if you're as big of a fan as I am, but maybe you have a top 3 Disney animated films like I do.
Oh, animated.
Yeah, animated specific. So you can't do Mary Poppins or
Yeah, no live action.
No, I was gonna say Flubber, but you know.
Yeah, Flubber's good.
What?
Man.
What? Yeah. What?
Listen,
What's
don't
wrong?
judge me.
What's wrong with
Flubber.
Flubber's great.
Or the absent-minded professor. You know.
Anyway,
But animated.
I'll start us off so you guys have a little bit to think about what you would do. My favorite of all time is 101 Dalmatians. Just simply incredible. You love the thing that got me was the very first sequence where Pongo's looking out the window and he sees all the dogs that look like their owners. I was just in love with the movie immediately. And then the meet cute where he and Perdita get their 2 humans to intertangle themselves. Then my second is Mulan, which has grown over time. But just that I'll Make a Man Out of You song has clinches the film as one of the best sequences in any film, I'd say. But I just love everything about it. And I know it's a little touchy on the actual culture and the history and what they're doing there. But when I saw it, it's all nostalgia for me. And in that same effect, just 2 years earlier was Hunchback of Notre Dame. So those 2 are my favorite of the Renaissance era. But Hunchback of Notre Dame, I think, is a little undersung compared to its neighbor. But the songs are just as good as Aladdin. The characters are just as dynamic. Clopin, the jester that introduces you to everything. Some of the best work of a voice actor and singer I've ever seen.
Yeah.
One of the best villains.
Yeah, with Frollo, yeah. Best villain song, I'd say.
Yeah.
Hellfire almost got them banned. So anyway, anyone else want to take what they?
I can give you my top 3.
Okay.
Number 1 would be Lady and the Tramp. This might sound odd, but I think it's one of the most swooningly romantic movies ever.
Well, that's not weird,
right?
I mean, it's got probably one of maybe if not the most iconic kissing.
The Bella Notte, yeah.
That's been repeated in countless parodies. So.
Oh yeah.
Hot Shots did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the remake, that's the best scene.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Number 2 would probably be Alice in Wonderland. I think it's almost like a perfect adaptation of the Lewis Carroll book.
I'll give you that.
Right.
I was under a separate influence when I saw that, and it scared the hell out of me. So.
And honestly, I think this is one of the more underrated movies, probably before the Renaissance that you were talking about. Great Mouse Detective, I love.
Ah.
Right before
Oliver. My movies.
What's that?
I said y'all keep stealing from my list.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, how about this for your list?
Great Mouse Detective and Hunchback are definitely up there.
So wait,
let Jeff go before somebody steals his other one.
Go ahead.
Well, no, because it was Great Mouse Detective, Hunchback, and Toy Story. Toy Story.
It's a Disney movie.
I'll give you that. It's Pixar, but
it kind of
I didn't say not to include Pixar.
Yeah. What's that?
I didn't say not to include Pixar. When Corey and I were discussing this, I was going to say just the regular Disney animated films, but everyone includes Pixar anyway, so you're allowed to.
Well, because you guys took 2 out of 3 of mine, I'll pick another one too. But Toy Story still holds the record for like most times I've ever seen a single movie in the theater. Even though I was, 9 at the time or whatever.
How many times did you see it?
5. Saw it 5 times in the theater, which means I dragged my parents to see Toy Story 5 times.
But it was a pleasure every time for them.
It was. Well, no, because it was. I remember my dad also being fascinated with it because of like the reflection technology and stuff. Like you see when Buzz is looking through his reflection in the helmet the first time you see from his POV, and you're like, holy shit.
It's incredible. Even though it's a little dated now,
it basically
Marvel.
If Rescuers kicked off the Disney Renaissance with the 2D stuff, then Toy Story was what kicked off the rest of it.
Yeah.
The way that it advanced the technology. And it's also a good movie. But we'll let Jimmy go, and then I'll figure out my one.
So my choices are no order. I can't really rank these. Fox and the Hound, Robin Hood, and
is there another Fox movie? Because
yeah, I mean, and then like
yeah, that's right. He's got all foxes in this.
I'm gonna go with for the last one. I'm kind of torn between The Lion King and The Jungle Book.
Oh, I had a guess and I was wrong. I thought you were going to go with Atlantis.
Oh, yeah, Lion King.
Ah, crap, you're right. Atlantis. That one
got him.
Knocked them out.
Atlantis.
There's so many good ones.
I forgot Atlantis was a Disney film.
I remember when he and I watched it a while ago now, but like he was way into it.
Oh, yeah, no, I still love that movie.
Yeah.
I just forget it's Disney.
I think we'll do again to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
That was around the time that the 2D thing was about.
That was the second death of Disney, and now we're in the second renaissance.
It's funny. A lot of the Disney films that I like are the ones that like you forget are Disney because they don't follow the typical Disney formula.
Jungle Book's a good choice too.
I saw that a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
Pinocchio and Fantasia.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Pinocchio would be up there.
Choices, yeah. I don't think I dislike a lot of them.
What would be your worst?
My worst?
Chicken Little, probably.
Yeah, you're right. But Chicken Little is by far the worst.
Apparently, there was a whole situation where they had a completely different film plan, and that film sounds better. So I can't blame them for what ended up coming out.
Home on the Range, I heard, is one of the worst.
It's better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's just kind of it's got a thin plot. The songs are good and nothing happens.
Which one's Home on the Range?
It's like the 3 cows get loose from their farm.
Is that Roseanne?
I did not like that.
And then
I saw 5 minutes of it. I'm like,
then there's a cowboy trying to wrestle them or something.
Such a dumb plot.
His song's great. The cows song is great. It's just not a good film. So but Chicken Little also doesn't have songs, and they try to shoehorn aliens into the Skyfall. It's
just horribly obnoxious and unfunny.
Yeah. The original was going to have Chicken Little trying to relate to her father and what it means to be growing up in the world. And she was scared of everything, and the father was going to coax her along. And then they changed the genders, and now Zach Braff is like scared of aliens and thinks so. It was going to be Holly Hunter before she did Incredibles. So.
Oh,
wait, wasn't Chicken Little based on like a Chicken
the
Little?
Original, yeah. The
so,
original story, they were going to do like a Chicken Little story, and now it's just like Chicken Little gets involved with aliens.
Yeah, but wasn't like the original
Men in Black
Little
as an animated kids movie.
I think so.
Yeah.
So he actually, the writer of the original version of Chicken Little ended up changing it anyway. And then it changed back, so there was a lot of push and pull. There was I think that's when Eisner left, so there's a changing of the guard, and that's why there's like a downswing in that era of Disney anyway. But
no direction.
Yeah, they didn't know what they wanted to do. Yeah. Pixar was doing better, so that's a whole different. We could go on. I could go on about Disney.
Yeah.
You should just do a Super Disney episode.
Did you have one more, Jeff, or was that Pinocchio?
No, that was going to be. I mean, the other thing was Goofy.
Oh yeah, the worst.
Oh, worst. Yeah, no, worst.
Yeah, the worst.
I don't know.
We're rambling at this point.
Yeah, well, I don't know. The Good
I'll-
Dinosaur. I've never seen it, but
Oh yeah, I've heard that's not great.
it's terrible.
Right.
I guess I'll take this opportunity as we wrap things up. Next week, when this finally airs, is around March 5th. I'll be releasing the winners of the Edgar Awards, the 20th annual Edgar Awards. And so if you haven't voted yet, take this chance to head into the interjections page and see where we have the link to vote. I'll try to add it into this podcast post if you want. But also, thanks again for listening to us ramble about Disney and highlight one of the least heralded of their Renaissance era. And hopefully you enjoyed this as much as we did and are listening to this to try and hear equal opinions. And remember to rate, subscribe, comment. We're on Spotify and iTunes. We have our YouTube channel. So I don't know if there's anything else. Next month, we'll wrap up 1990, and we're going to take a look at the most famous politician to be enacted. Is he big? Is he bigger than Reagan? What do you say? He's physically bigger than Reagan, and he shouldn't be a teacher, but he's going to be. It's kindergarten.
Al Franken.
Oh,
We're doing kindergarten cop for December, so we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
outro music.
Yeah, do the chicken flag.
I don't want people with brain damage.
Yeah.